Hello, this is the boss.
I'm the boss. They call me the boss.
With the meetings. Hello. I didn't see you there. How's it going? This is the Boss Office Podcast. Welcome to another episode. I'm glad you liked the beautiful intro, brand spanking. We're going to go ahead and get straight into it, you guys. But first, have a little conversation. How do you feel, babe? How do you feel about cults? I know you don't care for the civilized ones. It'll hear you. You just got to speak a little loud. How do you feel about them?
Not a fan of cults.
Rightfully so.
A lot of them out there.
There are a fuck ton of them out there. Okay? How do you identify cults? How would you say?
They are restrictive of how you live your life.
Very oppressive, correct. What is other than that, what would be a giveaway that somebody comes up to you, say, doesn't have to be a J-dub, a witness. It can just be anyone. And what would be your dead giveaway that this is a cult? You're like, oh shit, this is a cult.
They look Amish.
That's a little fucked up. We've noted all of the similar symptoms of a cult, okay? So I'm just going to let you know right now, basically, the main similarities, the main differences between a cult and a religion is the following: the size and the establishment, essentially. Okay? For all we know, you know what? We're going to dig into it. I'm not going to say any random ridiculous statements yet. We're going to give you this information, and we're just going to see how you react to it. We're going to see how you feel about it. We're going to get going on it. So, if your leader, your priest, whatever you want to call him, your messiah, has a God complex, meaning somebody who thinks they've got more power than anyone, they're the most powerful, they're the most high, they've got godlike abilities, they make...
I may be a cult leader.
Yeah, me too. I'm the boss, they call me the boss. We were watching this, what sparked us, this theory of cults, and this conversation of cults, was we were watching the Waco documentary. We're from Waco. That didn't happen in fucking Waco. It happened in Axtell, okay? And I'm sorry, you incivilized cunts like to make fun of Waco, okay? Grow a brain, all right? And look at a fucking map.
Oh.
It's not even in the clinic.
Profanity.
No, fuck them. Waco is not wacko. Trump had $8,000 at his rally. Okay, $2,000 left. There really was 10,000 people at that son of a bitch. I'm tired of seeing your arguments on Twitter. Just because you're a pussy and a Democrat does not mean you can hate on Trump's rally size. Okay, you get 5,000 people to show up in a state that they've never, or in a city that they probably have never been to at all. Try it. It's not easy. You're not going to be able to do it. Okay? You're just not. I'm not. You're not.
Because you ain't Trump.
You're not Donald. A leader who believes that they are a prophet, like I said, God complex, who believes they're a messiah, they think that they've got information that no one else has, that only God has given them and that they can only see by themselves. Deceptive teachings. In the, example A, the Waco situation, he taught deceptively. It was what happened in the cult of Waco. The Branch Davidians are basically like a denomination of Latter-day Saints. Now, Latter-day Saints are not one of the cults that are on my list because they're basically a denomination of Christianity, except for this spinoff involves polygamy and, they believe that they should protect what's theirs and what they've grown. And in the Branch Davidians case, they used weapons. And Mr. Koresh was just fucking everybody. All of them. Dudes, their wives. Fortunately...
Dudes, he was fucking the dudes too?
Oh, yeah, he was fucking everybody. He was just fucking. The dude was just slanging...
Oh, yeah, he was fucking the fucking kids.
No.
Yes, he was.
No.
That's what they said.
No, he was grooming the kids. He never touched one of them until they were 18. If they were 18, then they started fucking. I believe it. The whole reason Waco, this situation got so grand was because of the poor reaction of the FBI. If they were just like, okay, cool, if they would have just tried to buy some ammunition from him, I guarantee you none of that would have happened. But that's neither here nor there. Let me digress. Followers who completely devote themselves to their leader, okay? If it's not God or Jesus, which in all honesty, we're not even sure if this isn't just the grandest cult of all time, because in Catholicism, they be fucking kids. That's a deceptive teaching where they're like, you must be, not invalent, but starts with a C, celibate. We are celibate. We vow ourselves to celibacy because we only love the Lord. But they're fucking ass. Boy ass. And it's proven. And it's disgusting. Okay? Essentially, if you're a pathological liar and you have, you're self-proclamatory, most likely you're going to start a cult. So let's not do that, okay? Just don't. You could reform yourself to radical Islam. You could be a radical Islamic, and it's about the same thing as running your own cult. You just got to pray 5 times a day to the east and not eat pork. I think those are, So to give you back a little history on cults, how they started, basically all of the ones that are, long-standing, and I'm going to give you a list of them, are, they were started, they formed during these gaps of Protestant reform. Now, if you're not aware what Protestant reform is, there were periods in history, typically like 10, 20 years. This Protestant reform was, a good example of it was like the Salem witch trials was like the most prominent Protestant reform. Mormonism is in there, which we're going to talk about today. Basically, if you're not a devout Catholic, your denomination is considered Protestant. An example of that would be Baptists, Episcopalians, Protestants, Lutherans, Methodists, Congregationalists, Seventh-day Adventists, Eastern Orthodox, the Moravians, and Reformists, which are the Amish and the Mennonites, and the Pentecostals. That's another Protestant group. So they were started when, upon times of religious onset and religious awakenings, I guess you could say, to where these guys were like, I saw God in my soup, because that's really all that they had to eat was just soup. It was bad. That's when there weren't chickens, there were Cornish hens and quail. All right, and they were battling the natives still. Okay, 1820s, right? So let's give you the first example of a cult that I don't understand how it's still standing. Okay, it's a cult. All right, you fucking Mormons. Sorry for the F word, but just hear me out here. Okay, it's 1823. This young man named Joseph Smith is 14 years old, right? He prays probably 175 times a day. He was a Catholic, but he didn't believe in some of the things that they believed in. And most likely he was in the woods. He was a kid. They used to dig up artifacts all the time, or try to go dig up old Native American camps and all that type of stuff. That was a 1820s children's activity, was excavation. And my theory is that he got fucked up on mushrooms. He ate the wrong shroom, and he starts tripping in the woods when he's praying. Or the right shrooms. The wrong shrooms to Mr. Smith, but the right shrooms. Well, no, it's actually the wrong mushroom. Because if you eat mushrooms and you start a cult, that's not what we're pushing for here. Anyway, he is visited by what he believes to be God and Jesus to go unearth a that there is, where he is near a religious holy ground, okay? That the, let's see.
Look at Leo just looking at the camera.
Leo's in the podcast. Welcome, Leo. He's like, y'all are talking Protestants and cults. He's like, I fucking hate Mormons. Look at him. Yeah, he's yawning because he doesn't like listening to their beliefs and ideologies. So, after he was visited by God and Jesus, he goes back and begins, his practice. He goes and starts writing things. He's writing down, what God and Jesus told him during this premonition. And 4 years after that great date, he's asleep. It's after he did his 67th prayer of the evening. And the angel Moroni, the angel Moroni's in the Bible. The angel Moroni was one of the angels that visited Mary. I don't know if that's fact or not. I'm just messing around. However, the angel Moroni appears before him. Now, it's not clear whether this is a dream or whether he's just laying down. He ate some more of those shrooms, and he's just enjoying the waves. But an angel presents himself. He says, "You must go to this hill, the hill that God and Jesus instructed you to. Dig up these tablets." Okay. There will also be various artifacts that will help you translate these tablets. Okay. So he digs them up. 3 years later, he's digging in this hill. Okay. And allegedly he finds them. Now, I'm going to keep going before I give you my beliefs, but that part's fishy to me. He's visited by an angel, instantly starts digging. He's visited by mushrooms. Instantly starts digging. And 3 years later, he finds literally a binded book of sheet golden tablets that are etched in Egyptian or some sort of Egyptian. In reality, the texts were blank. Like in the original religion, in his original preachings, these were blank tablets, but there were two stones that were beside it. They were called seer stones, and he basically was able to interpret what these tablets said. Okay, and it's a bunch of ridiculous things. They believe that there are a separate group of ancestors that were led to America. I should have written down the name. They believe, but anyway, that they were led to America by God himself after the fall of the Tower of Babel, like a completely different sect of humanity, and they had been there since Babel fell, okay? He also believes that he is the prophet of God and Jesus in this angel Moroni, and that is what he practiced. He said that monogamy is bullshit. We're gonna have 8 wives, okay? You're gonna have 11 wives. You can get them all pregnant, except for your bottom bitch. Can't get her pregnant. You can get all your other separate wives pregnant. It's weird, okay? Weird, right? The fact that he pulls out these tablets and he's like, you know what? This has never been heard before, but we are a completely separate species. We're not even humans. We're Mormons. And these special eyes that were gifted via seeing, I almost called it the serpent stone, the seeing stone, to allow me to translate said tablets and let you know that you can't have one wife. I'm the one that talks to God every day, not you. And basically just come live under my practices of having multiple wives.
Pissed.
He's done. He left. Rest in peace, Leo. And the bird or whatever that just pissed him off. So, what do y'all think about Mormonism? I'm condensing the Mormon religions. I don't fuck with it whatsoever. Not, obviously I don't see, I don't understand the polygamy thing. That's very apparent in many cults. It's like, don't stick with one woman, marry the earth. Very weird stuff. Now, the Branch Davidians practiced a different way of polygamy, whereas Koresh or their higher-ups, their acolytes, could only be polygamous. They must remain monogamous. They can keep their wife, but old Dave Koresh is going to take them to Pound Town later in the name of the Lord. You can watch or whatever, but this is the Lord's work that he's doing in his secret sanctum. So yeah, it's very strange. Now, the other one that is of great importance, okay? There have obviously been multiple doomsday cults, right? Heaven's Gate. There's been a bunch of them. There was a black radical the Black Israelites group was a cult. Like I said, Heaven's Gates, that was a mass suicide cult. They believed that they were going to, whenever their leader told them to die, these were the ones that drank the Kool-Aid and had them sick-ass Nikes, every single one of them. I don't know how they got sponsored by Nike, but, if a cult can get sponsored by Nike, you can sponsor this podcast, please. I'd love it. Another one is the Jehovah's Witnesses, okay? The Jehovah's Witnesses, I've spoken about them before. One of my best friends was shunned from the religion because he left. That's one of the things about the Jehovah's Witnesses. They're like the only other existing religion cult that will shun their people completely. They consider it decommission. The parents are not allowed to speak to their kid. The kid is not allowed to speak with their parents. They can't live with any of their family that is a Jehovah's Witness because they have to be completely shunned. If you turn your back on the witnesses, you turn your back on God, and you turn your back on everyone. The Jehovah's Witnesses began in 1879 by a man named Charles Taze Russell. That's a pretty cool name. He was an author and a scientist. Basically, he wrote a Bible, right, that entailed practices that would prepare the followers for the second coming of Christ, which is essentially an apocalypse. He said that was going to happen in 1914. It did not happen in 1914. He died in 1916. Upon his death in 1916, that brings on this guy, Joseph Rutherford, who was a basically radicalist. He changed the whole vibe of the Jehovah's Witnesses. He was the one who said Jesus is not the Son of God. He's just another prophet. They believe in heaven, but no hell. They believe that once a man dies, that his soul ceases to exist. And if he so happens to be a part of this magical 144,000 people that get to ascend into heaven with the Lord, that then their soul will be reincarnated and gifted into heaven. Otherwise, it's done. It's your black screen, end of game. It's over. Yeah, only 144,000 get to go hang out with Jesus when the Lord ends, total. And you had to be a Jehovah's Witness. You couldn't be, not even Christians were a part of the 144,000. A common belief in cults is that you are a part of a sacred people. You're a part of a completely different ancestry than everyone else, and you are a special being, kind of like the Jews. The Jews believe that only the Jews get into heaven. They don't think that they're going to see us Christians in heaven. The only reason that the Jews are not a cult is because it's a fucking, at this point, they are what would you consider it when somebody looks, they are a species now. People can be Jewish without practicing Judaism because their parents and grandparents and great-great-grandparents were Jews. And you look Jewish, kind of like me, okay? I'm not Jewish, however, it's got to be at least 2% because of the schnoz. I haven't seen many Italians with a good-sized schnoz on them like mine, okay? Most likely a little bit Jewish. Well, actually, my genealogy dates back all the way to Syria on my father's side, so I'm probably one of the OG Jews. I'm just not practicing Orthodox. L'chaim. The Jehovah's Witnesses are not allowed to vote. If you're a Jehovah's Witness, you don't vote. You don't incorporate yourself with the economy. You don't incorporate yourself with the government. And you do not fight in wars. They refuse the draft. They do not receive blood transfusions. They do not receive resuscitation. They're all DNR'd. goodness, I mean, the list goes on and on of these weird, ridiculous rules. And then the main one is that if you are, if you're born into the Jehovah's Witnesses and you leave, you are disavowed. There's the word. You're shunned. Like, no communication with anyone unless you're like, you know what, I just said psych on that, dog. Like, I want to come back and every Saturday. They have quotas on how many hours of, preaching. They believe in, I can't remember the exact Bible quote, but they do use the Bible, but they interpret it as you must like the best way to receive different followers underneath you is door-to-door marketing. So they knock on your door, they go hand out all these random, you get a pamphlet at a gas station on a Sunday morning from some lady who's dressed in a dress and a cardigan, and she just throws it in your face and is like, at this point, they don't even ask you if you have a moment for Jesus Christ. They're just like, you have a moment for Jesus Christ, take this fucking pamphlet. So they're they have to reach a quota. They have to do public service. They've got to go around on a bike or their car and go hand out these flyers. And if they don't hand out a certain amount of flowers, they get disavowed. Not flowers, flyers. So it's very strange. Okay. Now, if you noted these, they have all the very familiar symptoms of a cult. Leaders with God complexes. Leaders believe that they are a prophet or they have direct correlation or conversation with Christ. Followers who completely devote themselves to the leader. If you're they were pathological liars. Joseph Smith was a science fiction author. While he started the cult, he's written more science fiction than anyone else. Which is kind of weird, given that he dug in a hill for 3 years after being visited by God, Jesus, and an angel Moroni and found tablets made of gold. What do you know? Huh? What a coincidence, huh? You know what I'm saying? I talked to God. Let's see. Yeah. So that is basically, that's the bigger named cults that are still existing. I know G is not the biggest fan of this topic. I just am, because I like to understand how stupid people are. So next time you're out there on the road driving down a Texas highway and you see somebody doing 55 and they're hogging up traffic, or they exit from the far left lane, then just take a breath, because they're probably in a cult. They're probably just one of those stupid people that just is stupid, and God's going to get them. God will strike them down. All right? They're possessed of Satan. Oh Lord. They're possessed of Satan. And then they trick people into following that. Okay? I'm going to take one quick second to let y'all know about a product that I will only use. I will only use this product. We'll use a bunch of fall protection. Well, actually, not anymore. We only use one brand of fall protection. That's Frontline Fall Protection. Check out this quick ad. Fans, if you or a crew of your guys wearing fall protection frequently, you need to stop. Those traditional things, they're no bueno. No mas, okay? Frontline Fall Protection, one more time, Frontline Fall Protection, it's right here, has got the best safety harness in the game right now, and let me explain to you why. So this motherfucker right here, let me bring her back up. This awesome bitch right here, let me show you something, okay? Let me show you something. You got this big, massive D-ring, right? And you got these straps leading down. Now, I want you to do me a favor and look at your old style straps, okay? And tell me them some bitches don't go all the way from your D-ring all the way down to your thighs, right? Right up around that nutsack, okay? You fall, that's not going to be good, okay? Not only do these things have nice, thick, padded straps here, okay? It's real nice, real thick. D-rings are all made of steel and coated rather. They've implemented the game changer, and that is what I'm establishing here with my explanation of these little doodads, these straps, right? Typically, the leg straps are connected directly to this D-ring. If you fall, that's going to cinch up on your femoral artery and your groin, okay? It's located within your groin, that femoral artery. It's the largest one in your body, and if that squinched for, I would have to guess 10, 15 minutes. It takes a while for you to get saved if you fall off a roof or from a high spot. Already by that time, you could suffer some consequences. That could cause clotting, and upon your rescue, you can throw a clot that can go to your heart, your brain, cause bad trauma. Not this, okay? Not these guys. Not Frontline, right? Check us out. Straps go all the way down the back, and they just connect to that waistband there, and then your legs are strapped together with another waistband. Okay, they're strapped to your waistband via another strap, and look at that. They don't cinch. You tighten them around where you need them to go. They're not going to go anywhere from there, and it's low enough on your cheek here that you just sit back into this. You're going to be good to go. It's very crucial to have something like this when instituting fall protection. I will never wear nothing else. None of my crews will wear anything else. And honestly, it gives you an extra, if you fall, that happens. Some people can pass out. That's noted as fact, okay? Don't pass out. Get yourself to safety. Use Frontline Fall Protection. Link is in the description. Back to the episode. Now, this brings me to my further theory, okay? Now, I'm about to get real wild, okay? I'm about to get real in-depth. All right, and look at me. Look at me. Sober as a gopher, okay? This is just where my mind leads me. This brings me to my theory that outside of our big space rock, right, a civilization, exponentially superior to ours is monitoring our species closely, okay? It would only make sense that they have some sort of satellite that they can come to that's not direct, that doesn't put in direct contact. God damn it. It would make sense that they use our moon as a staging point to where they do not have to make direct contact with us, but they can monitor us closely because it is locked in, completely unique to the solar system. I don't know how many times I need to say this to you people. Giving basically a fucking window, a clear view, a window of Earth at all points in time. Totally, completely. And allegedly it was here, our moon joined us when the Earth was forming. Allegedly there were two Earths in a symbiotic relationship. One of them got hit by a meteor, and then it bumped over and joined with our Earth, and then the remainder of it is now the moon. Now, who's to say that they aren't watching us closely? Who's to say that a civilization that went a completely different direction as far as their technologies, their powers that they possess as a being, I guess you could say, their energy sources, their ways of life, obviously, etc. Who's to say that they didn't go a completely different direction? I believe that this would logically make sense, given the lack of identification and communication from anything or anywhere within our solar system. If something is exponentially more intelligent than us, there's no reason why they would want to communicate with us. If they've been watching us for all this time, monitoring us rather, just trying to make sure that as if we're not their science experiment, but as if we are a science experiment, and just seeing where we go, seeing how we get where, what we do, how we advance, all of those things. Past civilizations have made these things apparent, okay? Yes, there was obviously an influence of the natural drugs, for lack of a better term, psychedelic experiences, because most of the origination places of these communities and civilizations are in temperate, or more of a tropical temperate atmosphere, or locations rather, meaning it's warm consistently, nighttime will get cool or cold, and then it's humid, there's precipitation, there's water around, thus, those are conditions that grow mushrooms. Those are conditions that if you're growing wheat, which we know for a fact older civilizations have done, it's humid. You need to store wheat in a very climate controlled and extremely unhumid place, or you get a mold on it. And this mold, ergot, okay, It's a mold that will poison people. And LSD was synthesized from this mold grown off wheat. Okay? Before anybody knew about any of that, they were definitely having to store their crop somewhere. Chances are it was not climate controlled. Chances are it was out in the middle of nowhere. They could dry it, they could whatever, or they thought that they were drying it, and turns out they were getting mold on it. Whenever they brewed it, it created, because they used wheat, barley for beer, because at that point in time they didn't understand there. When you're traveling around and you've been drinking out of one freshwater source or river your entire life, you don't want to, you're not going to trust the other waters, and water typically makes you sick, made them sick. So they would drink beer because they thought that it was healthier than water, especially when the times came before plumbing, when you were shitting in rivers. So you don't want to go scoop the water that 10 feet away somebody just shit into. It's very likely that sparked an era of unknowingly ingesting psychedelics and unknowingly thinking that you're talking with God. Now that's just a half of one theory that I have. Now, they've there's inscriptions, there's details, there's stories and pictures and interpretations of gods or these higher beings that came down to earth. And whenever they did, or visited these people, and whenever they did, the earth would shake and there was fire that expelled from their machine or their craft or their method of descending, because regardless, they came from the sky, visited here. I don't think that's totally them tripping balls. I think that if we're talking back in the 800s, 700s, BC, and the thousands BC, before Christ, that is, the stage of humanity that we were at, I mean, there's a possibility that there was only like 15,000 people inhabiting the entire planet Earth, right? So there's a lot of stuff that could happen. If you're at that prematurity age of a civilization, just instead of me trying to explain it that way, let me just, how would as a human, you look at a wasp, right? And you see that the wasp is obviously intelligent because it makes its own house and it flies around and it comes back with food and it grows its nest and it, so on and so forth, right? But it's not technologically advanced in the sense that we are. They obviously have their communication amongst themselves, but we cannot decipher it because it's WASP. It's WASP speak. They've got their defense mechanisms. There's the ways of life, right? We look at them and we're like, yeah, we're humans. That's a wasp. Just kill the motherfucker. There's millions more. It'll come back. Whatever you want to say. Who's to say that that is not how these beings or these gods, as they're explained, did with us? And now that we're just so far advanced, we've been advancing, that instead of them being like, if you're further advanced, they're going to say, you're smart, okay? You're not going to put a bunch of pirates that are power hungry on the same ship with a captain that's not power hungry, because the captain's going to die, and then that's just going to be a group of rebels. It's going to be an overthrow. Why would a far more intelligent and advanced civilization risk an overthrow, or risk explaining to us the true potential and abilities that we have by giving us their technologies and abilities, or not necessarily abilities, but their technologies and these practices and this information that's at a higher level than we are? Who's to say that they're just trying to stay away, or that they're just monitoring us like some science experiment that they didn't necessarily create, but they influenced heavily by visiting us at our young stage, knowing that we're not going to be able to explain, or understanding that we are going to continue to advance because maybe they can travel interdimensionally or throughout space and time. At that point, who really knows? This is all theory, okay? I already explained that part. And then another thing, there is multiple ancient sites dating back to hundreds of thousands of years ago, literally. Tens mostly, but there's a couple of sites that are hundreds of thousands of years old. Or is that they're made of the bedrock that is hundreds of thousands of years old? but the mortar that's in between them, or the whatever they are using as a mortar, has been tested and dated tens of thousands of years old. During or before a period of time called the Younger Dryas, which we know existed, which we know was a series of comet impacts and air bursts, which is not a direct impact from a comet, but rather it disintegrates in the air, in our atmosphere, before it hits the ground, which creates a larger explosion. Side note, nuclear bombs are not detonated on the ground. Nuclear bombs are air bursts, because instead of focusing the energy into the ground, which is what's going to happen after something falls and then goes boom, they focus it over the air, and it just makes it worse. It's the reason they fucking Hiroshima got, obliterated. It was because it detonated over the air. Yeah. My thing is just how did all of these get here? How did this information get to us? Where do these stories come from? Okay? All I'm including in here, all I'm pushing rather, is you do your research, okay? Educate yourself, and drop it down in the comments after watching this video what you think a theory could be, what your thoughts are on what I've explained, how I tied in, ancient civilizations and cults into the same conversation. Because essentially it's all different phases or levels of the same happenings. In my opinion. Just in my humble opinion. That pisses me off.
I know
He's ridiculous. Thank you so well. First, before I cut you off, do you have any final words or opinions? I know you didn't really listen much.
I was listening. I think the moon landing itself staged because they wanted the clout.
Good word. Great word.
With being the first to reach the moon. They wanted to win that race,
Space race.
they'd
Yep.
be ahead, whatever. And, I find the materials they used to supposedly get there very sus.
Very.
In the pictures, the old dial-up phone, not really dial-up, but it was the old landline phone that they used to call the moon.
Yeah, how does...
Don't know about all that. Plus, I think I've said it before, but if they actually went to the moon, there's no way they would stop going to the moon. They would create a tourist attraction on the fucking moon where rich people would pay $100,000 to go visit the moon. And, or they would be mining shit on the fucking moon.
Sorry. That's why I believe that it's either we just generally have not been to the moon whatsoever, humans, or...
I don't think...
No, I think they can. I think that I genuinely think it's something that's stopping them. Or something that was like, get the fuck out of here. Not like stopping the ship or stopping the craft, but like, it doesn't make sense that you send...
There's aliens that live on the moon?
They tried to go 13 times. Or just some sort of something. Some intelligence that's far greater, like I explained earlier. That's just like, get the fuck out of here. Y'all aren't supposed to be here. What the fuck are you doing here? Who you know here? Y'all from Earth. Y'all from Earth. Get off here. Just the moon. If they have a hood Baltimore accent. What are y'all doing here? There's no water on the moon. Get off the moon. You gotta get out of here. Get out of here. Get off the moon. We're aliens. From Baltimore. That's why all you Baltimoreans or Maryland folks speak like fucking Mandalorians. Doesn't make any sense. Does not make any sense. Continue. Sorry for interrupting. That's the way the cookie crumbles, folks.
That's all I got.
Thank you for watching.
I would love to hear what you guys think
Please.
about the moon.
Drop it in the comments. Follow us on Twitter. I have a Spotify Q&A going that's going to be dropped on this episode, so you have multiple ways to interact with us and to start conversation, because that's what we want to do. Okay, we don't want to just talk to a camera, right? We love your interactions currently. Thank you for all the likes. Thank you for the subscriptions. We're up to 55 subscribers now.
Hey.
Slowly growing, getting there. So we're just going to keep consistent. We're going to keep pushing these things, and we're going to keep exploring the ideas of the universe, conspiracy, different theories, different ways of life, different religions. We're just out here doing the Lord's work, you know? Doing the work of two completely insanely intelligent podcasters.
I think on the last
who are
podcast you said I was possessed.
Yeah, you were possessed of Satan because
Now I'm doing the Lord's work.
We're doing the Lord's work, but just in that moment, I believe that a possession of Satan can happen momentarily and leave just as soon as it came. I think that the devil can just reach up and grab your balls, or in your case, grab your butt, and it's like, I've got you for just a moment, and you will speak. I will speak through you. That's what it's called, being possessed of Satan.
Moon.
We're going to talk about it. What did you say again?
Let's talk about the moon.
You'd like to talk about the moon, eh? We howl at the moon some nights, okay? We believe in the moon, okay? I don't believe what has been said about the moon, okay? So the next title of this bit, we're about to finish out this motherfucking cast on, is going to be called, Is Our Moon a Conspiracy? Okay? Or what is the conspiracy surrounding our moon? Okay? Because we were told back in the 60s during the space race, 50s, 60s during the space race, that we went to the moon, we set a flag on that son of a bitch, and we were there. Plain and simple. You know what? NASA, Buzz Aldrin, them folks were like, you know what? We're the best there is. We wake up on the moon and piss excellence all over this alien place, and it just bubbles up like the liquids do in space. There's been news here, okay? American scientists using Chinese moon rovers. Listen closely to what I'm about to explain to you guys. American scientists using Chinese moon rovers thought we had a moon rover. They've analyzed samples from the surface of the moon, revealing thousands of glass beads. Revealing thousands of glass beads consisting mostly of hydrogen silica. So like a rock made of hydrogen, moon, no atmosphere. Things like that tend to just clump together in one and create a silica out of those things. If we didn't have the atmosphere, it'd probably look about the same. They heated these beads to 200 degrees Fahrenheit, which is very possible on the surface of the moon, just not on the dark side. That melted the silica exterior and released the encapsulated water. Now, with this revelation, the scientists believe now that just off of the 4-pound sample that they've brought from the moon via a Chinese rover, they believe that the moon's surface alone has over 70 trillion gallons of water. Let me pause real quick. Okay, she ran out. 70 trillion gallons of water, pure H2O, encapsulated in millions and billions and trillions of tiny little hydrogen silica, essentially marbles, hollow marbles with water on the inside. Now, let's dig in. Are you ready?
Sure am.
After reading that brought a bunch of further topics into mind, okay? That brought a bunch of information that I've seen over the years about the moon and about what we're being told about the moon and about what's happening on the moon. There was a video released showing a staged set, green screen. They had a black piece of paper with some shit hanging down to make it look like the outside of the space station, and then there was a globe that was green screen, so they could obviously CGI the moon, the rest of the space station, and whoever the fuck was inside the space station. Now, this was leaked from a news station. The news station was like, we've got these guys up there at the International Space Station. We're going to show you them right now. And it pans over, and it is not, in fact, astronauts in the International Space Station. It is someone's fucking garage at their house, that video you showed me yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
it's like somebody's garage. Like, legitimately, the Chili Peppers, you know, space may be the final frontier, but it's made in a Hollywood basement. You know?
That was good.
But it's made in some dude's garage. His garage. Space, the moon, his garage. Okay? I do believe that humankind, that man has visited the moon, and I do believe that the US possibly attempted to go to the moon, but I don't believe that we physically stepped foot on the moon. There's just too much evidence supporting that. I also thought, like I said earlier, I thought that we have a rover on the moon. Do we not?
I thought we did. Or Mars.
Both. I thought we had both. I thought there was constantly, I mean, the moon's closer to Mars. I thought we constantly had little motherfuckers over there crawling around collecting samples and shit. Why are we using a Chinese rover when we have one up there, you know? Riddle me this. Riddle me this, NASA. The more you watch Buzz Aldrin also literally tell us, like, not even the Associated Press, he couldn't go on the major news outlets and tell them that he's never been to space, or let me rephrase, never been on the moon. He has also stated multiple times, and you can Google this and look this up, there are videos of him saying that we were not able to step foot on the moon. We got into the moon's, not even necessarily orbit, but low enough to the surface to where it would be an orbit if they had one. Excuse me. Or their atmosphere, rather, if they had one, if the moon had one. And that there was an ET presence, an extraterrestrial presence, something else that was not allowing them to even land on the moon. Okay? We've got more. There's much more where this comes from, so just take note, okay? Do your own research is what I'm trying to say here, but take note of these things. I'm giving you free game here, like Virgil Abloh does. A scientist and multiple NASA engineers have also said on video, on tape, this one's everywhere as well, that we do not possess the technology able to get us back to the moon. They said they lost it. They went there once. Oops. We lost the recipe. Hey, you guys want to go back to the moon? Nah, sorry, dog. We lost the recipe. We can't find the technology that we used to get us there. Tell me where that makes sense.
A little sus, if you ask me.
Very sus. So now we're going to go into my more personal opinions here, okay? I don't think that the moon is fake. I don't think that space is fake. I don't think any of that shit's happening. But based off of all of the evidence and all the videos and everything that I've watched and interviews and all that stuff, I think the moon is definitely some sort of satellite or artificial craft, okay? I think it's used to both monitor and or affect our planet. I mean, it obviously affects our planet if science is true, and the moon is supposedly a what do they use? It's locked, just the way that the moon is locked into our orbit. It is completely unique to the entire solar system and possibly the universe. Every other moon rotates in and of itself, as well as has an elliptical orbit around its planet, right? Not our moon, not us. Strange. Our moon is locked in where we're at, and it is not rotating in and of itself. However, the Earth is rotating, and the way it's locked down, it's spinning the same speed as Earth, thus allowing us to only see one side of the moon. That's why you hear about the dark side of the moon. No, you're not getting up here, June. Go away. June, you crazy ass, get comfy over here. Fucking cat. No, don't you do it. No. Little shit, lay down right there. Thank you, fucking psychopath. Mm-mm. I'm gonna have to pause that there. I'm messing with this damn cat. Go crazy, June. So yeah, like I said, I think the moon is definitely some sort of advanced spacecraft, or it's just it was hollow whenever it was discovered. There was possibly life on it, and whoever took it over was like, nah, not anymore. It's gonna be a barren wasteland. They decimated its atmosphere and brought it closer to Earth to be able to study us closer. Now, these are some very outrageous claims. It's just a theory, and I'm no scientist. But I'm just saying, how does a space rock, a massive one, peculiarly place itself and lock itself into a completely unique orbit, as I said, does not rotate whatsoever, unlike every other moon in the solar system? All of the other moons, they rotate. There's no dark side of any other moon. They all rotate as well as... You
Dude!
crazy ass motherfucking cat. Fuck off.
I don't have anything to throw at her.
Yeah, I know. I'm about to throw a pin down there at her or something. I'm gonna have to edit that out. Every other visible known planet has something like this. That has a moon that rotates as well as orbits elliptically to its planet. My conclusion is that there are quite obviously things that we are not being told. Whether we can't handle it, whether science can't explain it. This is thus prompting the lack of evidence that's been explained to us, or lack of explanation as to why anything's going on. But now that it's 2023, I mean, this was discovered in the 2000s anyway. It was very obvious that we didn't go to the moon. That it would make so much more sense that the moon landing was staged. It's okay that we didn't go. Humans didn't go. We sent technology to the moon. This motherfucking cat. Thank you for watching another episode of the Boss's Office Podcast. I'm your host, BJ Betros, owner and president of Central Texas Specialty Construction, First Class Seamless Gutters, and a list of other entrepreneurial statuses. This is my lovely soon-to-be bride, G. Go ahead and follow us on Twitter at the Boss's Office Podcast, or excuse me, on Twitter at BJ Betros. It's my handle. If you would like to get on the podcast, either reach out to me there, reach out to me on the Q&As, or, statements to be made on Spotify. I put the email for booking contacts. If you want to be on the podcast, if you want me to be on your podcast, that is in my channel description. Use that email to get to me. If you enjoy or see any value within, Frontline Fall Protection. Sorry. If you see any value in Frontline Fall Protection, as much value as I do, and I'm telling you, I'm not just bullshitting you. It's a complete game changer. I literally asked them if I could. They didn't reach out to me and tell me to sponsor them. I asked them if I could advertise for their product because genuinely it is badass. Okay. I'm a boss. Okay. I'm an entrepreneur. I've got guys that work up. I'm the boss. They call me the boss. I work up at heights. My guys work up at heights. I'm not going to put them in a safety harnesses that can possibly cut their wieners off, okay? That's not good. Unless they're a rapist. Then they won't work for me. But that's neither here nor there. Go check that out. Link is going to be in the description of this video. Am I missing anything else? Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Music, Google Play, if you are in or around Waco, Texas, or the Central Texas area, and you would like some stage time, there is a comedy group that I started that has taken off completely without me, really. It's the Waco, Texas comedy scene. You can go follow that group, get some stage time, or reach out via one of the methods that I just explained to you. Thank you so much. If you enjoy the videos, please like, comment, and subscribe. Genuinely, subscribe only if you want to, like only if you want to. I really just we want to interact with our audience. I want to know how good I'm doing. I want to know how bad I'm doing. Let me know. And the only way I can know is down in the comments. So don't be scared. I'm not a dick. Okay? Only if you deserve it. Drop it down there. Get in touch. Let's work. Let's make magic. New album coming soon. And thank you for watching the episode. Love you. Hello, this is the boss.
I'm the boss. They call me the boss.